this is Cheyenne. Welcome to my deck. And it's another beautiful sunny day here in Eagleville, Pennsylvania. And like the rest of you, I'm basically under lockdown in my home. I spend a lot of time outside here um, and do some gardening, kind of some leisure time. Um, but I'm no gardener. So the question is, how do I mix my other interests in gardening to kind of have some good leisure time outside? So let me start with music and talk about the audio system. So talking about music, I think the first thing that people jump to is something like this, which is a Bluetooth speaker for their outdoors, and this works most of the time. But when you're looking to kind of entertain a larger group of people, or you're basically listening to some complex music, and especially you want some more bass sound, you're probably better off installing an audio system on your deck. Now, audio system has its own challenges because it doesn't have the four walls, so building a soundscape is difficult. And more importantly, as you would expect, it has to be weather resistant and bug resistant. And you can leave out all 365 days of a year. So this system that I installed has been with me for the last 2 years, and it served my purpose very well. And it's a cold tune system. It is a very good mid-range system, and it's got very good bass sound. And it is rated as one of the top 10 by the Audioholics group. And as you see, these have metallic grills, and they're 100 watts per speaker, which is enough for me and entertain about 10 people on this deck. Um, the cabling of this particular speaker, I did it myself, and it's about 25 feet from the amp, which is inside the house. And so let's talk a little bit about the cabling since I did it myself. A couple of things I had to be careful about. One is the type of cable you use. So because it is getting close to 30 feet of distance, one of the things you got to make sure of is the gauge on the cable. Typically, you get 18 gauge, 16 gauge, 14 gauge. I went for the best, the 14 gauge, which travels pretty well over the 25 feet that I have. The other thing is because these cables are going to be sticking outside, they have to be CL2 rated, so that's another thing you need to be worried about for cabling. And finally, because there's a lot of drilling inside the house as well as outside, you got to be careful about what's inside the walls, especially when you're going outside. You're kind of drilling through the siding as well as there's insulation, and they have to be sealed properly. So one of the things that I went outside is I put these little plugs on, and I actually sealed the plugs so that there's no kind of bugs or any kind of weather thing going inside the house. The other thing is about how did I hang them. And there are these little metal clips that you can get from Amazon that basically allow you to hook things on the sidings here. And they're not very expensive, about $5 or $10, and they hold up to 5 to 10 pounds each. And these particular things that they're hanging on has been with me for 2 years, as I said. And they're pretty easy to install. It takes 30 seconds to put them into the siding. The other thing is about the connections themselves. So I always use gold-plated connectors. So the cables are coming out, they're kind of hooking up to this gold-plated connector, and that goes into the binding posts that are behind these speakers. And that gives you the best possible quality of sound. In winter, I don't need to take them down, but for some reason I do, but it's up to you when you want to do it. So the sound system that I showed you outside is actually hooked up to this little unit over here. It is not hooked up to my Denon or Yamaha amplifiers, and you could do that, but in this case I decided to go for an in-wall amplifier, and this particular one has been made by Pyle, and it's not very expensive. You can get it at Amazon for less than $100. And by the way, this also is pretty 100 watts per channel, so that's pretty powerful enough for me. What this does, most importantly for me, has a little Bluetooth connection. So that allows me to play any kind of Bluetooth music through this particular amp. And if you don't want to use Bluetooth and you want to connect your phone directly through the phone connection, you can do that here. There's a little microphone input, so if you want to talk to folks outside, you could use it here. It has its own little volume control as well, so that's pretty awesome. And on top of that, you can charge your own Android or iOS devices from this port here. So like I said, I don't use a whole lot of these connections, but I do use Bluetooth all the time almost, and sometimes I'm connecting to this Alexa device and asking Alexa to play all kinds of music. Sometimes I'm connecting through my iPhone, which is Bluetooth connected to this guy as well from outside without having to step inside. And this is how I get my music outside. So that was a little demonstration of the audio system that I have on my deck. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you would like to do something similar or already have done something, please do write to me. I enjoy sharing ideas. Our next episode is going to be on watering the plants in your deck. And I'm going to show you some interesting things I've done here. So till next time, stay safe and enjoy your own backyard.